This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. First tonight, the Tasmanian man who headbutted former Prime Minister Tony Abbott has been sentenced to 6 months jail. Hobart DJ Astrolabe made national headlines for the attack in September last year and is now serving as a deterrent for others.
Walking to court this afternoon, supporters wished him luck. Astrolabe entering the magistrate's court to hear his sentence after pleading guilty to causing harm to a Commonwealth public official.
I bet you don't have that Tony Abbott again.
The 38-year-old Hobart DJ made national headlines in September last year for headbutting former Prime Minister Tony Abbott, a decision he explained to Southern Cross News.
Saw them walk back across the lawns and decided I'm never going to get the opportunity to headbutt that again. Sorry. Tony Abbott.
During sentencing, the magistrate described the action as opportunistic and unprovoked. Despite the harm caused being only minor, it doesn't preclude the matter from being serious. The invitation to shake hands with a member of the public hard for a politician to refuse, one Tony Abbott agreed to while walking with Senator Abbott on Salamanca lawns.
I saw him coming towards me. I held out my hand. He grabbed my hand and it turned into a headbutt. Now, it wasn't a very effective headbutt, obviously.
The magistrate describing Mr Labe as being regretful, but not for his actions, rather the predicament his actions resulted in, showing no remorse during the media attention that followed.
I'm legally obliged to. I'm not going to help my case if I say anything different. Of course I regret it. I don't condone or believe in violence.
During sentencing, the magistrate said while he accepts it was out of character, it was important that the penalty serve as a deterrent for others. Mr Labe will be eligible for parole after serving 2 months of his 6-month sentence. Eligibility relying on a $2,000 recognisant payment and drug and alcohol rehabilitation program. Senator Abbott welcoming the sentence in a statement as recognition of the severity of the attack. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
A man is in a serious condition after a fire broke out at his West Moona home overnight. Firefighters say he was forced to escape through a window due to a large accumulation of items hoarded in the property.
Fire investigators sifting through a complex scene this morning. A large accumulation of items inside the house causing difficulties for the examination and for the occupant when the fire broke out last night.
There's a fair bit of extreme hoarding that's actually disadvantaged the occupant of the house from escaping in a timely manner. So he's actually had to climb out through the front window of the dwelling.
Crews found him in the driveway with burns to his chest. He's now in a serious condition in hospital. Investigators say the cause is undetermined, but police don't believe it's suspicious.
Due to the health issues of the gentleman who's currently recovering in hospital, unable to get any factual evidence from him at this stage.
Authorities are also investigating 2 destructive and costly fires at this Bridgewater business over the weekend.
Around 8:30, crews were called to Midland Truck and Bus for the second night in a row. Crews contained the fire with damage caused to a vehicle and the workshop. The night before, the owner says 2 vehicles in the car park were also set on fire. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
The state government will risk fracturing its relationship with the Hobart City Council in a bid to ease traffic congestion. The government will forcefully take over the ownership of Macquarie and Davey Streets from Council. It's despite the Lord Mayor, Ron Christie, requesting the government wait for a joint report between the council and state growth.
We believe that this is a very sensible way forward. Now, obviously, the Hobart City Council will have a view and we'll work closely with them.
I'm hoping that they're going to see common sense. I will personally be facilitating meetings with the other mayors and particularly the Mayor of Hobart City Council and the Alderman to see the value in this proposition.
The Hobart City Council will discuss the government's move at its next meeting. Tasmania is the worst in the country for gun theft, according to new figures. Right to information documents reveal nationally the number of stolen firearms almost doubled in the past decade. Tasmania accounting for 8% of the stolen weapons, despite only having 2% of the population.
It's disappointing and it's embarrassing because it creates a problem for law enforcement authorities. Large numbers of guns stolen down here inevitably move to the mainland and create problems in the bigger black markets in Sydney and Melbourne.
The state government strengthened firearm storage requirements last year. Those requirements are not part of the government's proposal to weaken the state's gun laws. Multi-million-dollar tech upgrades are rolling out at Cadbury's chocolate factory at Claremont. It's part of a $75 million overhaul to make the facility globally competitive, helping secure more than 400 jobs.
A new high-speed packing system is rolling out the products at Cadbury, an upgrade to help a factory that's been making chocolate for almost a century stay open.
We've been here for over 96 years and we want to continue to be here into the future. So this is about securing jobs and our footprint here in Tasmania.
Upgrades underway in the chocolate making area, with new refiners able to process up to 180 tonnes of chocolate a day, an increase of more than 60 tonnes, helping to make the Claremont site globally competitive.
It's extremely important. You know, the manufacturing sector is not an easy sector, and we'll make sure that we can leverage technology as well as the capability of our people.
It's part of a $75 million program to modernise and automate, and comes after around 50 job losses last year.
It does put a bit of pressure on those workers. You know, the workers are talking to me all the time about the intensity of work there. But overall, look, it's good news that they've made this investment. Hopefully it secures the jobs for the future.
And at the other side of the supply chain, Cadbury is ditching fair trade certification, replacing it with its own ethical and sustainability program, Cocoa Life.
Cocoa Life is a $400 million investment from Mondelez and will be working with a number of NGO partners, including Save the Children and Fair Trade.
More factory upgrades are expected over the next 12 months. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Meanwhile, the Queen's youngest son, Prince Edward, has touched down in Hobart, visiting the real tennis court to promote the traditional sport. Young members of the club had the opportunity to chat with the Prince as well as take some photos. Tomorrow, he will be attending an event at the Royal Botanical Gardens. It's the Prince's first time in the state. Sessions are being held across the state to improve child protection in light of the recent Royal Commission into child sexual abuse. Harm prevention group Child Safe spoke at the sessions along with lawyers and an insurance firm. It's hoped extra child protection safeguards will be implemented by local groups.
I think for some organisations there's actually going to be a lot of things that they're going to have to change. But at the end of the day, the Royal Commission recommends that the 10 child safety standards are the baseline for organisations.
Further sessions are being held in Ulverston tomorrow night and in Hobart on Wednesday. Scientists from the Australian Antarctic Division have been listening to the noises made by sperm whales as part of a long-term study. The recordings were taken off East Antarctica using complex engineering and pioneering technology.
A team of researchers deployed listening devices in the Southern Ocean 6 years ago in a mission to capture the sounds of sperm whales. The devices are designed to record continuously for 14 months while withstanding the harsh Antarctic environment.
There's lots of devices out there that do a similar job, but I don't think any are really set up to do this long-term recording at low power in this sort of environment.
The next step, to analyse the recordings, researchers developing a computer algorithm to trawl through 46,000 hours of sound. Extensive research is now underway to analyse distinctive clicking noises made by the whales to attract their prey.
Sperm whales dive deep in the Antarctic. They dive deep underwater where there's very, very little light. So they're using these echolocation clicks to sense their prey deep, deep in the Antarctic Ocean.
The research also tracking the species recovering from whaling.
It's really exciting research. The technology is only getting better and better, and as we continue to record and as the instrumentation continues to develop, we're only going to get a more detailed window into the lives of these rare and remote animals.
The study will continue for the next decade. Ruby Kamane, Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. Australian shares have closed higher on their first day of trading for the week, ignoring China-US trade war fears that contributed to heavy falls on Wall Street last Friday. The ASX 200 index has risen by 20 points. Just a short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 76.9 US cents and 105.36 New Zealand cents.
To the TSL, and the Northern Bombers may have beaten the Tigers by 10 goals on the weekend, but playing coach Taylor Whitford says there are still chinks in his side's armour. Ultra-defensive play by the Tigers successfully stopped the Bombers' onslaught.
It was North Launceston's second smackdown of the season, a 62-point thrashing of the Tigers at UTAS Stadium. But a tactical change by the visitors prevented a bigger margin.
It was really, really good from our point of view in terms of getting the ball in nice and quick. And then they started to drop a few numbers back and we weren't able to capitalise on our possession.
Whitford will study the tapes to work out a plan for breaking a flooded backline, but he isn't expecting a similar strategy this week against the sharpshooting Pies, who impressed in their demolition of Lauderdale.
I thought they had their spark back and they were the Glenorchy of old in terms of how they went about their footy.
Goal machine Mitch Walker bagged 5 in his first game back in black and white.
I gave football up when I was 16 or whatever because something happened at the club and just came back, started playing footy again, started to get actually like playing footy again.
Walker admits being sick of losing was one reason why he left the Tigers.
We're not chasing wins or anything, but you know, I didn't really worry me leaving Kingborough. Like I got mates down there, they supported me and what I wanted to do.
The two heavyweights face off at UTAS Stadium on Saturday.
And the votes are in for the RACT Insurance Player of the Year in the TSL after round 2. Daniel Joseph earns the 3 points for Glenorchy after his side easily accounted for Lauderdale. Josh Ponting was named best on ground for North Launceston in its win over the Tigers, and 7 goals to Mitch Thorpe made him a clear pick in the Blues' 131-point win over North Hobart. All 3 players are tied on top of the leaderboard, along with Taylor Whitford, Troy Cunliffe and Marcus Davies. And finally in sport, scoring the opening goal of the weekend's Northern Derby wasn't the only thing which got NPL fans pumping. The Northern Rangers striker, known as AD by his teammates, fired off this quirky celebration, which is slowly becoming his trademark.
It was something that I've been doing since I was playing down Hobart, like in Hobart United. Yeah, like it's just something that I just create and then go along with it.
Rangers coach Lino Scully says more credit should have been given to his players, who led until Launceston City nailed an equaliser in the 83rd minute.
There was a lot of negatives said how City played and that sort of thing, but and I would have rather someone come up and said how well we played.
The Northern Rangers play Clarence in the next round.
Good evening. A cloudy day in Hobart today and cool too. 16 the top, Launceston and Burnie 21, Devonport's 22 along with Low Head the state's warmest. A trough did cross the state today with showers early over the west and south and later over the southeast. The rest of the state found fine but cloudy weather. The tidiest town in Australia for this year, Smithton, recorded 21 degrees. Flinders Island 20, King Island and Strawn 19, Friendly Beaches 18, St Helens and Ouse 17 today and Grove 15 degrees. Now here's the cloud produced by the trough over our region today, getting over most areas as it moves through in that fairly brisk northwesterly airstream. Colder cloud in the wake of a front is east of the state. Another front is near the southwest of WA. More cloud over that state too as following a trough. And apart from the convective cloud over the far north, mostly clear skies over the eastern part of the country. Tomorrow the cold front moves to our southwest as a high follows over the Bight, a trough over the northwest of the continent and a high remains to the east. Northeasterly winds at 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the southeast and northwest, lighter winds over the inland lakes. Strong wind warning though, that's from Wineglass Bay all the way around to Stanley. For tomorrow, Tuesday in Hobart, partly cloudy and 23 degrees, 20 the top for Adventure Bay, partly cloudy for Tarraleah and 19. Launceston, partly cloudy, 21, bit of cloud for Devonport and also Bridport with a top of 20 degrees for those centres. Burnie tomorrow, 20 as well, a shower or two. 23 for Strawn, Marrawar a possible shower and 20, while for St Helens, a cloudy day and 20 degrees, 22 the top for Swansea and Whitemark. On Wednesday, showers over the southwest extending statewide during the day. Rain again on Thursday, decreasing in the evening, but not before a few heavy isolated falls. And on Friday, showers developing later over the west and northwest. A shower developing too over Perth after a really long run of fine weather there. Adelaide with a late summer and 35 degrees tomorrow. Fine for Melbourne and plus 30 temperatures for Canberra and Sydney. A little cloudy at the moment, 13 degrees in Hobart, partly cloudy in Launceston, 16 right now, 16 also currently in Devonport. And as I mentioned earlier, Joe, it's just great that Smithton's won the tidiest town in Australia. Over the years, many towns in Tasmania have that accolade. I'm looking forward to the big sign on the boundary of the town to welcome us all there next time we're there. I'm going up there soon to mess it up a bit.
Oh, of course you would, and ruin it all for them. Don't let him in, folks, don't let him in. Well, that's all from the news team for now. Thanks for your company. We'll see you throughout the evening with updates. Bye-bye.